Let's continue reading from the book called Behold the Pale Horse, which is a quote from the book of Revelation in the Bible. We're reading from chapter 2, page 87. The Vatican has been infiltrated over many years by the Illuminati. This is easily proven by the fact that in 1738, Pope Clement XII issued a papal bull which stated that any Catholic who became a Mason would be excommunicated, a very serious punishment. In 1884, Pope Leo XIII issued a proclamation stating that Masonry was one of the secret societies attempting to revive the manners and customs of the pagans and establish Satan's kingdom on earth. Pierce Compton, in his book The Broken Cross, traces the infiltration of the Catholic Church by the Illuminati. He has found the use of the all seeing eye in the triangle by leading Catholics and by the Jesuits. It was used in the seal of the Philadelphia Eucharistic Congress in 1976. It was on a special issue of Vatican stamps in 1978, announcing the final Illuminati victory to the world. Mr. Compton claims that Pope John XXIII wore the all seeing eye in the triangle on his personal cross. Compton is adamant that several hundred leading Catholic priests, bishops, and cardinals are members of secret societies. He quotes an article in an Italian journal that lists more than 70 Vatican officials, including Pope Paul VII's private secretary, the Director General of Vatican Radio, the Archbishop of Florence, the Prelate of Milan, the assistant editor of the Vatican newspaper, several Italian bishops, and the abbot of the Order of St. Benedict. Those are only the ones that are known, and only the ones known in Italy. It is widely believed that this Pope, John Paul 22nd, is a member of the Illuminati. I believe, according to my research, that it is true. The best indication of infiltration is that on November 27, 1983, the Pope retracted all of the papal bulls against Freemasonry and allowed Catholics, after several hundred years, to again become members of secret societies without fear of excommunication. The goal of the Illuminati to elect one of their own to the papacy appears to have come to fruition. If that is the case, the New World Order is just on the horizon. Now is the time. The first US ambassador to the Vatican was William Wilson, a Knight of Malta. His appointment was probably illegal and, for a fact, was highly unethical. Wilson could not possibly have represented the US when his allegiance was sworn to the Pope. Wilson, if you will remember, took an unauthorized trip to Libya and met privately with Libyan officials at a time when travel to Libya had been banned by the president. President Ronald Reagan had called Gaddafi a mad dog and made a few strong threats. The US had been resolute in bombing Libya even though civilians were killed. Following Wilson's trip, Gaddafi issued a press release stating that an American diplomat had been sent to reduce tensions with Libya. The State Department denied that any such thing had taken place. Ambassador Wilson closed his mouth and refused any comment. To this day, he has said nothing, even though his actions made a liar of the United States and embarrassed us worldwide. A clue to what was happening is the fact that while we had cut off Libya and even bombed them, and while travel by US citizens to Libya was forbidden, five huge oil conglomerates were filling their pockets dealing with Gaddafi. One of the companies was headed by J. Peter Grace, president of W.R. Grace. Eight members of the W.R. Grace Company are members of the Knights of Malta. According to an article by Leslie Geld in the New York Times, administration officials had expressed concern about Mr. Wilson's activities. These actions, they said, often seemed to revolve around his contacts and interest in the oil business. Wilson should have been fired, but instead, nothing happened except that he and his wife attended the Papal Easter Mass and stood next to George Shultz and his wife. In diplomatic language, this indicated private approval of his actions. George Shultz, of course, is a member of the CFR and the Bohemian Club and the Bacte Corporation, all of which have close ties to the Order of the Knights of Malta. Wilson engaged in several other improprieties during his ambassadorship. Again, in each case, nothing happened. Finally, he resigned. Later, if you will remember, President Reagan suffered a fall from a horse on Williams Wilson Ranch in Mexico. Do you seriously think that President Reagan would have visited Wilson's home in Mexico if he had not approved of Wilson's actions while he was in the US ambassador to the Vatican? Knight of Malta Myron Taylor was President Roosevelt's envoy. Knight of Malta John McConney was President Kennedy's envoy, and he was also the director of the CIA during the early 60s. A former mayor of New York City, Robert Wagner, was President Jimmy Carter's envoy. Frank Shakespeare replaced William Wilson. Frank Shakespeare is a Knight of Malta, and so it goes. President Reagan spoke at the annual Knights of Malta dinner. The Knights of Malta all have diplomatic immunity. They can ship goods across borders without paying duty or undergoing customs check. Does that ring any bells? In any case, that is power. The Knights of Malta is held up by a backbone consisting of nobility. Nearly half of the 10,000 members belong to Europe's oldest and most powerful families. This cements the alliance between the Vatican and the black nobility. The black nobility is mostly the rich and powerful of Europe. The head of the black nobility is the family that can claim direct descendancy from the last Roman emperor. Maybe now you can see that things are beginning to fall into their proper place. Membership in the Knights of Malta entails obedience to one superior in the order and ultimately to the Pope. Therefore, a US ambassador who is also a member of the Knights of Malta faces a conflict of interest. Why is this fact ignored? President Bush appointed Knights of Malta Thomas Melody to the post of US ambassador to the Vatican. The Vatican has founded the Pope John Paul II Center for Prayer and Study for Peace at 1711 Ocean Avenue, Spring Lake, New Jersey, in a mansion overlooking the oceans. The mansion was given to the New York Archdiocese by the estate of Elmer Bobst, who died in 1978. He was a multimillionaire and chairman of Warner Lambert Company. Richard Nixon was a frequent visitor. Directors of the center were Kurt Waldheim, former Secretary General of the United States and an ex Nazi war criminal. Cyrus Vance, former Secretary of State under Carter and member of both the Council of Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission. Claire Booth Luce, a dame of the Knights of Malta, and J. Peter Grace of W. R. Grace Company, who is head of the Knights of Malta in the United States. The center was set up by the Vatican as a part of the Pope's new peace plan, which will bring the world together. See my paper, The Secret Government. The center has two roles: educate Catholics and their children to accept the New World Order, provide residence for the children to accept the New World Order. Then, provide residence for the World Peace Solution computer on an ongoing study for peaceful solutions to any future problems which may endanger world peace. The computer is hooked to the world capitals via satellite. All nations have agreed to relinquish sovereignty to the Pope, and submit future problems to the computer for a solution. I mean, to a computer. Wow. Of course, this will not go into effect until the New World Order is publicly announced. I believe that the New World Order was born in secrecy on January 19, 1989. Now you know. Acquaint yourself anew with the teaching of Jesus. Compare his teachings with the tenets of the Illuminati, and then compare it with the following. The Vatican has stated at various times that the Pope is for total disarmament. The Pope is for elimination of the sovereignty of the nation states. The Pope is also stating that property rights are not to be considered true property rights. The Pope believes that only the Vatican knows what is right for a man. In the early 1940s, the IG Farben Chemical Company employed a Polish salesman who sold cyanide to the Nazis for use in Auschwitz. The same salesman also worked as a chemist in the manufacture of the poison gas. The same cyanide gas, along with Zyklon B and malathion, was used to exterminate millions of Jews and other groups. Their bodies were then burned to ashes in the ovens. After the war, the salesman, fearing for his life, joined the Catholic Church and was ordained a priest in 1946. One of his closest friends was Dr. Wolf Smutsness, the mastermind behind the November 78 to October 79 and March 80 to October 81 experimental hepatitis B vaccine trials conducted by the Center for Disease Control in New York, San Francisco, and four other American cities that loosed the plague of AIDS upon the American people. The salesman was ordained Poland's youngest bishop in 1958. After a 30-day reign, his predecessor was assassinated, and our ex Chinite gas salesman assumed the papacy as Pope John Paul II. 1990 is the right time with the right leaders. Ex chief of the Soviet secret police Mikhail Gorbachev, ex chief of the CIA George Bush, ex Nazi cyanide gas salesman Pope John Paul II, all bound by an unholy alliance to the ring in the New World Order. The Pope has challenged world leaders by claiming that the people of the world already recognize the absolute authority of Rome because they observe the Sunday Sabbath that was ordered by the Pope in the Council of Laodicea, AD 374. The original Ten Commandments, given Moses by God, ordered that we should remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Shabbat of the Lord thy God. In thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. The seventh day, the Shabbat, as handed to Moses by God, is Saturday. The celebration of Sunday as the Shabbat is verification that the people recognize the Pope as superior to God. The only whole people who have not recognized the authority of the Pope are the Jewish people, and that is why the Vatican has not and will not recognize the state of Israel. The Vatican refuses even to call it Israel. Instead, the Vatican says Palestine when talking about Israel. Again, I must remind you that what you believe makes not one bit of difference. The important things to understand is that if they believe this, it is going to give you nightmares. The Pope has a lot of charisma, and in a one world system, you need a religious head for power. Khomeini proved that. This Pope has enough following and charisma to make what we consider a great threat in his move. Quote from the Mantooth Report. Pope John Paul II is most anxious to complete his goal. His goal is to reunite the Christian world under the leadership of the papacy. If at all possible, he hopes to reach his goal by the end of this century. This is the primary reason behind the Pope's many worldwide trips. From an article by Jean Hochberg, November December 1989, Plain Truth. Were you aware that Hitler and his entire staff were Catholic? Did you know that the Nazis dabbled in the occult? Did you know that the New York Times of April 14, 1990 quotes George Bush as stating, "Let's forgive the Nazi war criminals"? I wonder why he said that. Did you know that the Los Angeles Times, December 12, 1984, quoted Pope John Paul II as saying, "Don't go to God for forgiveness of sins. Come to me." The Pope committed blasphemy. That's fulfilling prophecy according to the book of Revelation. The Pope is telling us that he is God. Remember, never worship a leader. If you worship a leader, you then no longer have the ability to recognize when you have been deceived. On July 21st, 1773, Pope Clement XIV said, "Forever annulled and extinguished the Jesuit order." France, Spain, and Portugal had independently come to realize that the Jesuits were meddling in the affairs of the state and were therefore enemies of the government. The Pope's action was a response to pressure applied by the monarchies. King Joseph of Portugal signed a decree by which the Jesuits were denounced as traitors, rebels, and enemies to the realm. Pope Pius VII, in August 1814, reinstated the Jesuits to all of their former rights and privileges. Ex President John Adams wrote to his successor Thomas Jefferson, "I do not like the reappearance of the Jesuits. If ever there was a body of men who merited eternal damnation on earth, it is this society." Jefferson replied, "Like you, I disapprove of the restoration of the Jesuits, for it means a step backwards from light into darkness." The Jesuits are still in trouble today, as they have been throughout their existence. On February 28, 1982, Pope Paul II told the Jesuits to keep clear of politics and honor Roman Catholic tradition. US News and World Report stated that the Jesuits had indeed meddled in the affairs of the nations. The article stated Jesuits have played leading roles in Nicaragua's Sandinista revolution. Some Jesuits have joined communist parties. One priest in El Salvador has claimed that his order is working for the advancement of Marxism and revolution, not for God. Jesuits have joined left wing rebel movements in Central America and the Philippines and advocated a melding of Marxism and Roman Catholicism in what is called liberation theology. When the United States wanted to employ the nastiest form of the Haig Kissinger depopulation policy in Central America, it was the Jesuits who organized and prodded the people into civil war. Wherever the Jesuits go, revolution quickly follows. I'm always sad when I see or hear of people being hurt. But according to my research, the Jesuit priests murdered in Central America probably deserved it. The most powerful secret organization in the world is the Bilderberg Group, organized in 1952 and named after the hotel where its first meeting took place in 1954. The man who organized the Bilderberg Group, Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands, has the power to veto the Vatican's choice of any pope it selects. Prince Bernhard has this veto power because his family, the Habsburgs, are descended from the Roman emperors. Prince Bernhard is the leader of the Black families. He claims descent from the house of David and thus can truly say that he is related to Jesus. Prince Bernard, with the help of the CIA, brought the hidden ruling body of the Illuminati into public knowledge as the Bilderberg Group. This is the official alliance that makes up the world governing body. The core of the organization is three committees made up of 13 members each. Thus, the heart of the Bilderberg Group consists of 39 total members of the Illuminati. The three committees are made up exclusively of members of all the different secrets groups that make up the Illuminati: the Freemasons, the Vatican, and the Black nobility. This committee works year round in offices in Switzerland. It determines who is invited to the annual meeting and what policies and plans will be discussed. Every proposal or plan that has ever been discussed at an annual meeting on the Bilderberg Group has come to pass usually within 1 or 2 years following the meeting. The Bilderberg Group is directing the quiet war that is being waged against us. How can they do it? These are the men who really rule the world. The number 3, 7, 9, 11, 13, and 39, and any multiple of these numbers, have special meaning to the Illuminati. Notice that the Bilderberg Group has a core of 39 members who are broken into three groups of 13 members in each group. Notice that the core of 39 answers to the 13 who make up the policy committee. Take special notice that the 15 members of the policy committee answer to the round table of nine. You know that the original number of states in the United States of America was 13. The Constitution has 7 articles and was signed by 39 members of the Constitutional Convention. The United States was born on July 4, 1776. July is the seventh month of the year. Add 7 for July and 4, and you have 11. 1 plus 7 plus 7 plus 6 is 21, which is a multiple of 3 and 7. And 2 plus 1, and you get 3. Look at the numbers in 1776, and you see 2, 7, and the 6, which is a multiple of 3. Coincidence, you say? I say balloony, and I really like to say something a lot stronger. For those of you who still say it's accidental, however, I offer the following evidence. I could write a book just on numerical links, but I won't. Manly P. Hall, 33-degree Mason, probably the most renowned expert on these subjects, wrote in his book The Secret Destiny of America, for more than 3,000 years. Secret societies have labored to create the background of knowledge necessary to the establishment of an enlightened democracy among the nations of the world. All have continued and still exist as the order of the quest. Men bound by a secret oath to labor in the cause of world democracy decided that in the American colonies they would plant the roots of a new way of life. The Order of the Quest was set up in America before the middle of the 17th century. Franklin spoke for the Order of the Quest, and most of the men who worked with him in the early days of the American Republic were also members. Not only were many of the founders of the United States government Masons. They received aid from a secret and august body existing in Europe, which helped them to establish this country for a particular purpose, not only to the initiated few. I found these quotes in a book on page 133. When added together, 133, 1 plus 3 plus 3 equal number 7. Coincidence? I think not. We can get a little insight into the order of the quest from Franklin D. Roosevelt's Secretary of Agriculture, Henry Wallace, the man directly responsible for the printing of the reverse of the Great Seal of the United States on the $1 bill. Mr. Wallace, a member of the Order of the Quest, wrote in a letter to the Russian mystic and artist Nicholas Roerich, the search, whether it be for the lost word of Masonry, or the holy chalice, or the potentialities of the age to come, is the one supremely worthwhile objective. All else is karmic duty, but surely everyone is a potential Galahad. So may we strive for the chalice and the flame above it. The Holy Grail has a way of popping up on a regular basis in the writing of secret societies. In the Great Seal of the United States, we see the ancient symbol of the Brotherhood of the Snake or Dragon, which, as you already know, is the all seeing eye in the pyramid, representing Lucifer in the form of wisdom. Just below the pyramid, you will note Novus Ordo Seclorum, which translated means New World Order. There are nine tail feathers on the eagle, 13 leaves in the olive branches, 13 bars and stripes, 13 arrows, 13 letters in E pluribus unum, 13 stars in the green crest above, 13 stones in the pyramid, 13 letters in Annuit Chaptis. 13 is the mystical number assigned to Satan, according to Satan Dio in his excellent book entitled Cosmic Conspiracy. Sorry, according to Stan Dio in his excellent book entitled Cosmic Conspiracy. All of these mystical numbers also have special meaning to the Freemasons. You would have to be a devout skeptic to miss the tremendous significance of all of these supposed coincidences. Who among you can still say that there is no link? By the way, in the Kabbalist teachings, 26 is the sum of the value of the letters of the name of God, the tetragrammaton, so called. So 13 is exactly the half of 26, which is the half of God. I read while in naval intelligence that at least once a year, maybe more, two nuclear submarines meet beneath the polarized cup and meet together at an air clock. Representatives of the Soviet Union meet with the policy committee of the Bilderberg Group. The Russians are given the script for their next performance. Items on the agenda include the combined efforts in the secret space program governing Alternative 3. I now have in my possession official NASA photographs of a moon base in the crater Copernicus. This method of meeting is the only way that is safe from detection and or bugging. The public outcry that would result would destroy everything should these meetings be discovered. A BBC TV documentary program entitled Science Report revealed that these same facts, but subsequently issued a retraction. In their retraction, they stated that the show had been fiction. It must be noted here that Science Report was a very respected documentary nonfiction program in Britain. Never in its history had it ever aired fiction. This subject is explored in depth in another chapter. There is no other method that I know of to verify these meetings short of someone becoming a crew member on one of the submarines. Is Alternative 3 true, or is it a part of the plan to ring in the New World Order? It really doesn't matter because either way, we're screwed. The quicker you understand that, the wiser you become. The members of the Bilderberg Group are the most powerful financiers, industrialists, statesmen, and intellectuals who get together each year for a private conference on world affairs. The meetings provide an informal, off the record opportunity for international leaders to mingle and are notorious for the cloak of secrecy they are held under. The headquarters office is in The Hague in Switzerland. And if you remember that, I was reading about the Divine Province who spoke about The Hague, same way. So everything is connected, as you can see. the only European country never invaded or bombed during World Wars I and II. Switzerland is the seat of world power. The goal of the Bilderberg Group is a one world totalitarian socialist government and economic system. Take heed, as time is running short. You must understand that secrecy is wrong. The very fact that a meeting is street secret tells me that something is going on that I would not approve. Do not ever believe that grown men meet on a regular basis just to put on fancy robes, hold candles, and glad hand each other. George Bush, when he was initiated into the skull and bones, did not lie naked in a coffin with a ribbon tied around his genitalia and yell out the details of all his sexual experience because it was fun. He had much to gain by accepting initiation into the order, as you can now see. These men meet for important reasons, and their meetings are secret because what goes on during the meetings will not be approved by the community. The very fact that something is secret means there is something to hide. John Robinson wrote Proofs of a Conspiracy in 1798, and I believe he said it best in the following passage from the book. Nothing is so dangerous as a mystic association. The object to remaining a secret in the hands of the managers, the rest simply put a ring in their own noses, by which they may be led about at pleasure, and still panting after the secret they are the better pleased the less they see of their way. A mystical object enables the leader to shift his ground as he pleases and to accommodate himself to every current fashion or prejudice. This again gives him almost unlimited power, for he can make use of these prejudices to lead men by troops. He finds them already associated by their prejudices and waiting for a leader to concentrate their strength and set them in motion. And when once great bodies of men are set in motion, with a creature of their fancy for guide, even the engineer himself cannot say, thus far shalt thou go, and no farther. Is the common man really as stupid as the elite seem to believe? If he is, then maybe the average citizen is better off ignorant, being manipulated this way and that, whenever the elite deem it necessary. We will discover the answer very quickly when the common man finds that this ticket to Fantasyland has just expired. I hope I have shown you the role of secret societies and groups within the world power structure. I hope you can see how this group gain and keep power. You should have some understanding of how operating in secrecy and infiltrating every level of government and vital industry, including the press, the elect manipulate the people and nation of the world toward any direction desired. I hope you caught on the fact that the secret power structure is toward a totalitarian socialist state, which is fascism. It is not the Nazis, as they were a product of this power structure. It is not the Jews, although some very wealthy Jews are involved. It is not the communists, as they fit the same category as the Nazis. It is not the bankers, but they do play an important role. I also hope that you are beginning to look inside yourself to see if their reality fits. Are you getting the message? For a better understanding of secret societies and their role throughout the ages, I recommend you read the books listed as source material at the end of this chapter, which is here. US President Bush and Soviet President Gorbachev arrived yesterday on this Mediterranean island for a summit conference beginning today, during which both hope to start the search for a new world order. New York Times, December the 1st, 1989. So here is the material is speaking about. If you want me, I will post a picture of this. There are lots of books about that speak about what he is saying, and then we'll continue tomorrow reading the chapter 3, which is and with whose title is oath of initiation of an unidentified secret order from a mother who states that her son took this oath and who must remain unidentified, and Congressional Record House 1913, page 3216, furnished by Dr. Ron Brown. We will read this tomorrow. There's actually the oath. Okay, it's been a pleasure. Bye.